Answer your question again.
I want to know, first of all, why do people hate so much Jewish people?
Okay, so
you know, and why are they still fighting in the Holy Land? What's the purpose of that?
Show me an example today where people hate the Jews today.
Like saying that the Jews are greedy, that, you know, they, I don't know, it was a question that I wanted to bring up.
So, what's your nationality, sis?
I'm Central American and Mexican.
So who get more hate, you or the Jews?
There you go. Bring it out.
I think all of us.
What's happening to your people? What's happening to our people right now? Right. Are the Jews getting deported?
No.
So this image that we have in our mind is the same way they gave us white Jesus. They're constantly putting these images in your mind to think that people hate them.
I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
And are what? They say they are Jews and are not. Go ahead.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
What does that part mean? They're the synagogue of Satan. So if I call you, you're not no Jew, Karina. You a synagogue of Satan. What am I telling you?
I'm not a Jew.
Right, and I'm also telling you that you're what? That you the devil.
So this is Gamal Abdel Nasser, second president of the United Arab Republic, formerly president of the Republic of Egypt. It says the Europeans claiming to be Jews.
You hear that? They're claiming to be Jewish,
are nothing more than Hebrew-speaking Gentiles. The late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated on television, "You, the Jews, will never be able to live here in peace."
So remember you said, why do they hate them so much? And why is there war in that? Because the Arab nations, the Sunni and the Shiite Muslims know that they are not the real Jews. They do not belong in that land.
Because you left here black, but came back white.
Look at that right there. And right after he said that, he was assassinated. All right?
We cannot accept you.
Is knowing who you are, right? Because remember, this happened to them because why? Why this happened to us? Why we going to slave ship? Huh?
Because
What happened? Disobedience? Disobedience to what?
God.
Disobedience to what, brother? Why we going to slavery on ships, yokes around in there? Why that happened to the Israelites? Because what? What was the cause? What is verse 15? Man, I gotta show me. This happened because, Sister Gracia, I'm gonna show you. I ain't gonna give it to you yet. Sis, how you doing? Go ahead. Watch this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15.
So what I'm doing right now, sis, what's your name?
Karina.
So I'm showing Sister Gracia and these two brothers here and this brother here that we are the Israelites according to the Bible, right? In Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 and 48, I showed them prophecies that happened to those people, which is us today. Yokes of iron around their neck and slavery on ships back into Egypt today. That happened to our people. Slavery on ships worldwide, hundreds of millions of us dead, don't know who we are. That happened to us. And that's talking about the Israelites. So if that happened to those people, and we fit that description, that means we are those people that the Bible is talking about, right? And now we're gonna read verse 15 in Deuteronomy to find out why did it happen, because nobody can really answer that question on why we went through slavery as a people. The Aztecs and the Mayans destroyed, wiped out, gone.
Bring it out.
Right, go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass.
Meaning it shall come to pass, meaning it's going to happen. Like how they just passed us on the scooter, right? It shall come to pass, meaning it's going to eventually happen. Y'all with me? Sister Gracia? Go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken.
If thou wilt not hearken, you know what that means? Like not to hearken? The root word of hearken is what? Hear. If thou wilt not hear, right?
Unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you don't listen to God's voice, right?
To observe to do all his commandments.
To do his what? Commandments, right? Go ahead.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day. That all these curses.
All these what? All these what?
That all these curses.
All these what, bro? You heard that said? If we disobey God, all these what? Curse, help my brother out. Sister Gracia. All these curses are going to what?
Shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So if we break the commandments, what's going to happen? We're going to have what? Curses are going to come upon us and overtake us. Y'all with me? Go ahead.
Curse shalt thou be in the city.
So stop. Cursed shall thou be in the city. The Israelites will be cursed in the city. Right? Who's that talking? Who cursed in the city today? We are. Why?
So many things, man. So many things.
We gonna give me one. Cursed in the city.
Economy.
Okay, yep. Financially.
I have a question. Why do so many people hate Jews?
We don't hate Jews.
No, but you know, it's just so many. It's just like they talk so much bad about them, like they're green. Like, I just want to know why.
Okay, brother, real quick, answer your question, sis. Brother, that makes sense so far. We going over, right? So what do we have to do? We got to keep the commandments, right? Hold on, don't leave, sis. We got to keep the commandments, right? Because by us not keeping the commandments, what happened? What we just read, this right here. We went into slavery on ships, yoke confinement on our neck. So to get out of this situation, what must we do? Think about it. If us not keeping the commandments brought us in this, if we keep the commandments, what will happen? So if you got bad grades and you can't graduate, what do you got to do to make sure you graduate? You got to get what? Good grades, right? Okay, so we got bad grades with God right now. So what we got to do so we can graduate with God? Get good grades, which is what? Keeping the commandments.
That's right.
That makes sense? You got to keep the commandments. So when you're at home, learn the commandments, right? Learn how to keep them. The Sabbath, fringes, etc. There's a lot of commandments you have to learn, right? To reverse the curse we have today. It makes sense, Sister Gracia? Because we are the Israelites. Y'all with me? Now, your question. Answer your question again.
I want to know, first of all, why do people hate so much Jewish people?
Okay. So,
you know, and why are they still fighting in the Holy Land? What's the purpose of them fighting?
So let me do the first question, right? You said why do people hate the Jewish people today?
Yeah.
Why do you think that's going? Why do you think people hate them today? Where are you getting that from?
I don't know. I just have heard a lot. You know, like internet people.
Show me an example today where people hate the Jews today.
Like saying that the Jews are greedy, that, you know, they, I don't know. It was a question that I wanted to bring up.
So, what's your nationality, sis?
I'm Central American and Mexican.
So who get more hate, you or the Jews?
There you go. Bring it out.
I think all of us.
What's happening to your people? What's happening to our people right now?
Deported.
Right. Are the Jews getting deported?
No.
So what's going? I live in the hood. I live in the ghettos, right? Not right now, but I grew up in the hood in the ghettos, right? I didn't see no Jews getting hate towards them. How many Jewish people you know personally?
That I know of.
So this image that we have in our mind is the same way they gave us white Jesus. They're constantly putting these images in your mind to think that people hate them.
He was not white.
He wasn't white.
He was not white.
He was not white.
From his people.
So I don't have no problem with no Jewish people today. I don't see no hatred going on with them today. I don't see nothing going on. I don't see police gunning them down. Do you see that? Do they fill up the prisons? Or do they fill up the gangs? They look good. They own Hollywood. They own all the music industry. All the rappers work for Jewish people. Where does hate coming from? Let's see what Christ think about it. Watch this.
Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
He said, I know thy works, tribulation, and poverty. I know the things you're going through. Key word also says poverty. We are impoverished people today.
But didn't they say that the Jewish
The Jews played a role in killing Christ. You're right. They did play a role in that, but not all the Jews.
No, of course not.
It was a certain sect of Jews who played a role in killing Christ. Right? But you see that part is I know thy tribulation and poverty? The Jews today ain't in poverty. We are. Go ahead.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
We are rich. Why? Because this Bible, Christ, the laws and commandments God gave to our people. That's what makes us rich. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy.
Meaning I know the lies
of them which say they are Jews.
Who today say they're Jews? You just said it. Who today says they're Jews?
I don't know.
What they look like? You just mentioned about hate for Jews. What did
say
they?
that the people, the Jewish people from then are not the Jewish now.
You're right. They're not. They're Jewish. That key word is ish, brother, right here. What do the Jews look like today?
Rich, well established.
Right, rich and well established.
Yeah.
You heard that, sis?
That is.
What's your name again?
Karina.
What's your name, bro?
Divine.
So Divine, you right. They rich and well established.
Yeah.
This scripture, what says what? Read that again from the top.
I know thy works and tribulation.
Tribulation
And poverty.
and poverty. They not no tribulation and poverty today. They destroying the Palestinians right now. They getting tore up over there. Right? They getting, if you say something about a Jewish man today, what happened to Kanye West? What they do to him?
Tell him that he was crazy.
Huh?
Tell him that he was crazy.
Right, but they stop his money coming in. He a billionaire. They didn't stop his bank account, all that. So wait a minute. How, if they going through so much, they got a lot of power to be going through a lot of stuff. Every single president has to come, what's that called? The Wailing Wall. They got to come to the Wailing Wall, kiss the wall. What's that? Kamala Harris went to, name of the group. What's the ADL? APAC. They gave her like 50 million, Devon. $50 billion or something crazy like that for her campaign. They're not going through no poverty. Your people are, though. They ship you out all over the world. If you're an immigrant, you know what they send immigrants now? They send them to the El Salvadorian prison. Have you seen that? That prison out there?
Yes, I have.
You see how crazy that look? That's a nightmare right there. That's tribulation and poverty, sis. Go ahead, finish it out.
I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
And are what? They say they are Jews and are not. Go ahead.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
What does that part mean? They're the synagogue of Satan.
I don't know what it means.
So if I call you, you're not no Jew, Karina. You the synagogue of Satan. What am I telling you?
That I'm not a Jew.
Right, and I'm also telling you that you're what?
I'm a sinner.
That you the devil.
Bring it out.
Why are they the devil?
I don't know.
So, you know that there, like the officer was saying, there's a lot of controversy in that land, right? Let me start with Joel 3 and 2. You ever hear of the Egyptian president by the name of Gamal Abdul Nasser? It's a statement that he made in 1958 when he was talking about the Jew-ish. Remember, ish means something pertaining to. It's not the real deal, right? So he said, in 1958, you left black, but came back white.
Oh, I heard something like that.
Why would he say that? Somebody find that Abdul Nasser, the Egyptian president, 1958. But give me that Joel 3 and 2.
Joel, chapter 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So this is future prophecy. It hasn't happened yet. The nations will be destroyed. Okay? All nations that have come against Christ shall be destroyed. Read on.
And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel.
Because God is going to bring these nations together in one place to destroy them, to deliver us, the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel.
Whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Shalom Israel, this is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
Then after World War II, they were placed in that land and created the state of Israel. It was a creation, right? But check this out.
So this is Gamal Abdel Nasser, second president of the United Arab Republic, formerly president of the Republic of Egypt. It says the Europeans claiming to be Jews.
Ah, you hear that? They're claiming to be Jewish,
are nothing more than Hebrew-speaking Gentiles. The late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated on television, "You, the Jews, will never be able to live here in peace."
So remember you said, why do they hate them so much? And why is there war in that? Because the Arab nations, the Sunni and the Shiite Muslims know that they are not the real Jews. They do not belong in that land.
Because you left here black.
The 12 tribes, Jesus the Christ, Ephraim, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, all those tribes are black. Our forefathers are black. But through conquest, as was mentioned earlier, through conquest, mixing with the other nations, slavery, being scattered abroad, we come in different shades of brown. But it's the seed of your father that denotes who the real Israelites are, right? And we are Israelites. You're an Israelite, sis.
Because you left here black, but came back white.
Look at that right there. And right after he said that, he was assassinated. All right?
We cannot accept you.
We cannot accept you. So that's why the Arabs continue to fight with the so-called Jewish individuals in that land. So we're talking about, the sister had a good question, my brother. She said, well, why is the so-called Jews hated, the Jewish people? Because we're the real Jews. You see your father on that side? Where's your grandfather from? South Carolina? You're Ethiopian? Okay, Israel, you got to understand, if the Israelites were scattered abroad, right? Okay, they've been scattered to all four corners of the earth. Let's get that in Isaiah 11:11. Actually, let me get that in Acts 2 and 5. I'll show you something. All right? So you understand why that's going up. Before we get that, I'm going to hold this. Give me Zechariah, is it 9 and 6, a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod? You know what a bastard is? What's a bastard? What is a bastard?
A bastard?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say the same thing.
Out of wedlock, right? Or has that doesn't have a the father's not legitimate, cannot legitimately claim that child, right? So remember we read about the controversy in Israel, the Jewish people. But check this out. Here's what the Bible says. Who's dwelling in?
Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 6. And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod.
Now it says a bastard. This is Bible prophecy. A bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Ashdod today would be Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is the so-called capital of the Jewish people of Jerusalem today, right? So the Bible says a bastard
shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines.
Cut off. So a bastard. There's two things. A bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. The so-called pride of the Philistines, that would be today the so-called Arabs, the Palestinians that are doing battle in that land right now, right? And we read that earlier. We didn't finish reading, but let's go back to Joel 3 and 2. And then I'm going to cover the questions about Israel being scattered. Now, it's a potential that you could be, you say you're Ethiopian, but you got to go back to the seed of your father. You could be an Israelite, right? I'll show you that.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So God is going to do this because he's tired of the bloodshed, the murder, the thieving, the lying that's going on in that land by the so-called Israelis, the Jewish people. They own Hollywood, they own the banks, they own all the land, they're murdering, they're dropping bombs, they're blowing people to smithereens, and they said they are the so-called Jews. You believe that? Is God gonna cause something like that? No. This is what God is going to cause because of that bloodshed in the land. He's going to gather all the nations into the valley of decision.
And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel.
Plead for these people, meaning he's going to destroy the other nations to deliver this nation. This is one nation. There's 18 nations in the planet, no matter how you look at it. These 12 tribes make up the nation of Israel, right?
Whom they have scattered among the nations.
Now that's going to go into your question because Israelites have been scattered throughout the nations. 1611, or actually starting about 1600s, with the Southern Kingdom. 1500s, 1492, with the so-called Native Americans, right? They were scattered to Spain, England, and Europe, right? 1611, from 1611 on, from the Jacobite Wars to the Americas, Native American Indians to Europe, to Spain, to Portugal, to the Solomon Islands, to Jamaica, to give me some isles of we were scattered to the four corners of the earth, right? Let's finish that though.
And parted my land.
Notice how it says the land was parted, right? The land was parted. Nations went into the land, my brother, parted the land. Now they're doing battle. That's why there's so much bloodshed, lies, thieving, killing, and murder going on in that, and it's continuing, right? And the Most High is going to put an end to it.
And they have cast lots for my people.
When they say cast lots for my people, sold to Johnson, sold to the Williams plantation, sold to the Jamaican Islands, right? That's what it says. They cast lots. That means they sold us. Where's the one with the auction block? I think if you got the flyer, look on your flyer. I think there's right here. Look at that right there. See them? It's kind of distorted a little bit, but you see that right there where they're bidding. That's a cast lots for my people.
And have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine.
So why does it say gave a boy for an harlot? What were they doing to the men in slavery, captivity? What were they doing with our men, young men and old men? You ever hear the word, I'm going to say something, don't be offended. You ever hear the word motherfucker? Where did that come from?
Honestly, I don't know.
What? That's literally. That's where it came from. They were making the boys, I said, giving the boy for harlot. The sister was right. They were making the boys screw their own mama. All right? And vice versa, all throughout slavery, between these tribes, the tribes of Israel. These are the atrocities that happened to us.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. It's nation time.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word, his word.